Welcome to the Father's Day bonus episode of a podcast called Fresh. You heard me right, bonus episode. In addition to being the episode miles per hour described as maybe the most fun episode I've ever recorded, but don't quote me on that. It's a dedication to Aaron, the patron saint of It's Like a Podcast or whatever. A lot of effort was put into restoring this audio, and we hope you enjoy this movie review as much as we do bringing it to you.
Hey y'all, it's a podcast called Fresh.
What up, loved ones? 'Tis I, your guy, handsome Bane, the compelling protagonist of Out of Power Plane. And with me, my, I don't want to say frenemy because that sounds trash and too many people use it. But he is my sworn rival.
I'll take it.
One of us will bury the other on a hill that overlooks the city when it's all said and done.
Just put flowers on my grave once a year.
I have already pledged to reword the lyrics of Conan the Adventurer at his funeral.
Yes.
So the crotch-grabbingly great Miles Amadeus Prower.
What up, y'all? What's up? It's good to be back, man. It's good to be back. How we doing?
Right, yeah, you heard him before. We were talking about lunatics on Sesame Street.
Classic.
Yeah, they all got problems, man. But this time, I came to this particular gentleman because he's probably the only one who gets it when it comes to what we're talking about. And that's not to diss anybody else. No. He gets it more than the rest of you. I'm not backpedaling. He's better at this than you. All right. So for this special Aaron's Day episode, we will be reviewing Transformers: The Real Movie, not that Michael boom blade boom blade blow crap.
Oh man, yeah, travesty.
You want to go ahead and get that out the way because I want to keep this kind of as positive as possible. We could just get the unpleasantries out the way. I'm going to let you go ahead and trash it because I think you might have seen more of them than I have.
I've only seen all of the first one and half of the second one. I didn't go any from there. It is a horrible, horrible, horrible thing. It is sad that the original and only Transformers movie I vouch for is light years away from any of the ones Bane has done. It is a travesty, and we've already spent too much time speaking on it as is.
All right, good enough. I remember I saw it and I was like, oh, these are some pretty cool colors. And that was it. It was like, oh, hey, Tyrese and some cool colors and some things moving. All right, that's pretty cool. But
it's cool to see that in real life.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, yeah, you know, like when did the first one come out? 06, maybe? Because I vaguely remember taking my younger brother to see it when he was like 4. And so he had nothing. He had nothing to hold it up against, and was like, "Oh, these are some cool colors." But
he's so lucky.
You're right. Just to have that ignorance is such a blessing for these guys. But
it is.
The original Transformers the movie was released on August 8th, 1986. It was by the Toei Animation Studio and Sunbow Films. Also, they wanted to avoid a G rating, so that's why we hear like the word shit uttered twice. And what is it?
That blew my mind.
Yeah, remember we didn't notice that until we were in college, like until we were in the dorm, and it was like, wait a minute, are my adult years working? And he said shit.
It blew me when I knew what was going down. My man's dad was about to die. He's like, oh shit, bam. I'm like, oh wow, it's getting real out here, dog.
He flat out died, bro. I was like, dog, they killing humans in this one. Okay.
I was like, this man obviously did not want to die. And my dad would sleep next to me. I'm looking at him like, dude, do you see this crap?
Remember though, but it's like, yeah, that would make sense. Like he wouldn't be like, "Oh, geez, Louise." He would, he would blurt out an obscenity as such, worthy of death, of seeing a planet eater coming toward you and eating your little satellite. Yes, yes, you would swear. So they wanted to avoid a G rating as to not be dumped in with all the Care Bear movies and other crap that that they were deemed that only little children would go see. They wanted to, bolster their, they wanted older kids to be like, "Hey, you come see this," and then to widen their audience. Obviously, it was called a 90-minute toy commercial, and to that I say, so
What?
and to that I say, so what? Like that's kind of the dope thing about our '80s stuff is that and I'm saying for me, and I would like to hear what you have to say about it. We got like that perfect balance of creativity and like our own imaginations being able to play out on TV for us.
Oh yeah.
When I played with my toys, it was like an episode of the show.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was theatrics, man. I mean, like, dude, kids today don't know about. It took a good hour sometimes. If you had all, like, my cousin has like the Destroyers and
Right.
with GI Joe and all that stuff. We had GI Joe versus
Yes.
Transformers. It take a good hour for the setup
Easily.
before you start
Easily.
playing, dog. It was like straight theatrics. Okay, well, I gotta get this and start taking your sister's stuff. Like, yeah, okay, so we got Cobra Commander's making giant women.
Barbie. Right.
It is something he would
That
do.
is something he would do too. And so yeah, like just the leaning into, it is what it is. And like I think anytime somebody's like accused of something that's supposed to make them feel shitty and they just lean into it, they're like, no, this is what it is, and this is why it's awesome. Like oh god, who was it? The only redeeming quality of a lot of these cartoon to live action movies are like, He-Man, where it was trash, but Skeletor was amazing because he overplayed it. Raoul Julia murdered his role as M. Bison while going through chemotherapy for stomach cancer.
What a man, dog.
What a man. All right, like he was
getting chemo in between acting.
That's the manliest thing I ever heard, dog. We're talking getting chemo. Like he did the fight scenes first because he wasn't doing his chemo yet, and then he just acted his brains out while doing the chemo for stomach cancer and putting in a tour de force performance, all because his children really liked Street Fighter.
That's powerful stuff, dog. Dog. They don't do acting like that no more. That dedication. My man's who was a consummate professional, man.
Bro, he was given the performance of a lifetime because he was about to die.
It was his performance of a life.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I wish I had a dad. All right. So we had Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, of course. The other immortal Frank Welker as Megatron. Yeah. Leonard Nimoy as Galvatron. Orson Welles. Orson Welles' final role as Unicron. Judd Nelson as Rodimus Prime in the most on-brand performance. Probably Judd Nelson's
better than we deserved.
Yeah. Christopher Collins, of course. Everybody on here is incomparable. Christopher Collins as Starscream, who just his throat had to be killing him by the end of everything, every shoot that he ever did. We had John Micro Machines Guy Machida as Blur.
Yep.
And of course, the first crotch-grabbingly great Scatman Crothers as Jazz, who was murdered. Fucking murdered, bro. And so we did you know the reasoning behind killing so many of the characters?
It was for toys, wasn't it? Like they wanted to stop selling all because it makes sense when you look at people like back in the day. It was like, even with like you said with Ninja Turtles, you had Megatron kids and you had Optimus Prime kids. You had all the other, and everybody pretty much stayed to themselves. And people like me, like I had like 3 or 4 Megatrons. It was like, you want Optimus Prime only for Megatron to fight. That's
right.
That's all I need, you know. So like, you look at us to this day, we still on the same stuff. They had to kill them off, and it still didn't work.
Yeah, and it's crazy because Optimus Megatron had to go through so many changes because once you transformed him into a gun with a bump stock, it's just like. I mean, logistically, it didn't make sense because he was transforming into a gun that was being held by his contemporaries. And
the least trustworthy nigga in the crew.
Least trustworthy, Starscream. Here, Starscream, I'm going to turn into a gun, and I'll fire me. Like, I don't even know if Starscream hated Optimus Prime more than he hated Megatron.
Oh, that nigga hated Megatron.
He hated Megatron so much. And so I guess let's get into some plot. And I don't know, you want to try to run down, or wait, which one of us saw the movie more recently? Because we can just kind of.
Oh shoot, I haven't seen. Last time I seen that mug, it was a while ago, but I think I remember.
I can pretty much close my eyes and watch it whenever I want. So, they start off on the
I remember like the whole beginning, like the back of my hand, like that shit.
The satellite, they're there, and the satellite starts getting eaten. Someone utters obscenity. There's Unicron. The introduction of Unicron is like, well, what the heck? So we get Unicron, and some people die that we were to care about. I don't know if they thought, like, it was like, yeah, these guys will be first. They couldn't have just given us some unimportant, like, some uninhabited, or, I mean, not even uninhabited, some, just like some random made up alien robot somewhere else that we didn't care about. They took Jazz immediately. And it was like, but Scatman Crothers still got a check. And so we're done with that. So then we go to Earth, and there is all this time I did not understand. I don't know if they were on Earth or not with the Autobot base.
I always assumed it was.
Yeah, let's assume it's the Autobot base on Earth, and everybody's chilling, and then all of a sudden, the completely unrelated to Unicron, Decepticons come down and try to kill a bunch of our Autobots on the Autobot base. Prime isn't there yet for some reason.
Of course, they show up when that nigga's not there.
Of course not. All right, you ain't gonna. Nah, they ain't coming with Big Daddy home. So they come down. They do a random attack, and they get behind their base. And so days pass. It's felt like where, like, it actually. The sun had gone down, come back up by the time the real fight.
Fortnite, if you will.
Almost felt like at least a night. And it was the rockets, red glare, and all that was going off. And finally, they stop in one of my favorite lines, and I'll be doing my favorite lines throughout.
Ever.
For the fences are broken! Let the story begin! Yo! Frank Welker, dog. For him to only have been in this movie for about 10 minutes.
He established his character 100% in that one line.
Earned every penny. Me said, let the slaughter begin. I was like, bro. And it was like, fam, is this a show for kids, dog? Like, I should know that sentence. And,
he defined to me that came. I was born in '83, dog. So that did when my dad took me to the movie. He defined in my mind.
Yeah, no, he's pretty villainous, dog. Like they don't come bigger or badder than Megatron. Honestly, like he was nasty.
We're not taking hostages.
Let the begin.
No,
like there was a female Autobot in there. He was gonna kill her too. It was like, jeez. So anyway, we get all that, and then Big Daddy comes home. Optimus Prime. We get some Stan Bush, who we're going to get to later on. The touch, and then another line. Peter Cullen comes in, and he earns his money. One show stand. No, Megatron must be stopped. Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. Pulls up on Megatron. He came out like the touch plays. What an amazing ballad, power ballad. Stan Bush gave us 2 power ballads, and that he gave us.
That song is powerful. If I ran for president, that's the song I would use.
You're going to get all the Generation Y votes, like X for that matter. I'm like, yeah, all right, here you go. All right, we get Prime. He comes in. He is taking out Decepticons left and right. 3 shots. He does a triple axle in the air.
All shots.
He hit a couple. Like, just hit a couple as a truck. You can just do that.
Yeah. In addition to killing them with his ass.
He pops up, drops the hitch, pops up, does a flip, shoots at least 2 or 3 of them in the chest and face. I'm like, dog, this is really violent for robots, but
he was not trying to
no matter the cost. I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about them too. Like, I came here to kill these guys off. Yeah. They just said, I don't know if you heard them, but they just said, let the slaughter begin. And they're trying to slaughter.
That's why I love Optimus. He was so lame, but dog, he would murk you.
That was my favorite. Yeah, that's like, I understand. Like, I'm into straight-laced, goody two-shoes, good guys too, as much as I am to like nefarious villains. But when there is a guy who's like, okay, this is a war, and unfortunately, people, places, and things have to die. So I would rather it be you instead of me trying to use non-lethal force. You're not going to give me the same luxury. So no, I'm going to kill you.
No,
so
he's
I don't
putting
have to
him
worry
down.
about you later.
with no remorse or compassion, just like he putting a rabid dog down.
She's like a baby. So let's get into the Megatron Optimus Prime fight. Let you to handle that one, because we saw that and we looked at each other and was like, okay, that's what our relationship is.
Oh yeah, ultimately that was that. Yeah, that it one show stand, one show. Just the level of my man said,
all his lines were money
for this.
He came in.
Dog, all of those were like, they cut a promo, dog. That was essentially like a promo.
Gravelly, like there was nothing assisted him. There was no effect put on his voice. That was all him. I would have waited an eternity for this. It was like, fam, so good.
I loved it because it was no secret that one of them had to go. It was no talking. They met up. One shall stand, one shall fall. Why would you throw your life away so recklessly? That's the question you must ask yourself. Then it went down.
Right.
It was like the illest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, just from that, when I seen that as a kid, and I remember watching that, like, dog, most cartoon shows and stuff, you see, they was fighting. I'm like, dog, this man is trying to kill him. He's trying to take this dude out. It's just the whole fight.
No, the fight was really bitter, but then when Cup says, finish it off, Prime. It's like his whole squad. Well, Cup, was like a vet.
He was so a vet, dog. He was so a vet.
Such a vet. And when we see the light sparkle
like
off
it was
the
the
gun,
right choice. Like, it was the right choice, dog.
So he picks it up and he just the way he points it at him. If I could pull this out, I want to redo this later and just play, like, splice in the footage of Prime just pointing the gun.
now! No more, Optimus Prime! Grant me mercy, I beg of you! You, who are without mercy, now plead for it? I thought you were made of sterner stuff. No, you don't, Megatron! Out of the way, Hot Rod! Fall! I would have waited an eternity for this. It's over, Prime.
That whole it was ill to me when I went back and watched it. How Megatron wounded him and kept going back to hit that same
It was Triple
wound.
H.
And I'm like, dog, they're not playing with.
Right.
My man said, I'll rip out your optics with my bare hands. To your boy Hot Rod, you'll get a part of that. That's Prime fight, boy.
I mean, they did an amazing job. So again, like they're talking about, oh, this is just people playing with toys, but they did such an amazing job of putting weight on it and making it feel like, you know, it was super important, and it was still like the first 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes of the movie. So it just kind of let us know where we were going from there, because it's like, you have this amazing conflict, this final confrontation between these bitter, sworn enemies. They literally they fought to the death, like their eventual deaths.
It was going down, and then just that whole part prepared me later in life for when Mufasa died. But because it's like I did, nobody ever died in cartoons to that point. So like I'm like, dog, I just knew something was gonna happen, you know. And I didn't like Optimus Prime, but I'm like, I respect him. I need him for Megatron to fight, so I need him to bounce back.
I do remember that being one of my most visceral moments of like just being a kid and then seeing Prime turn gray.
Oh man,
it's just like, wait, what?
Oh my god.
And Aaron was right there, and I like looked at him like, bro, what? And he was like, yeah, because he didn't show a lot of emotion on anything really, and that was like one of the things he was like, because I mean, it wasn't like it was like going to keep him up at night, but he did look to me like, yo. So this is death.
yeah. It didn't. His head turned to the side. Then all the color drained from his body.
The color drained from him. I'm like, but it's paint. He's like, no, that's not paint. Apparently not.
Symbolism for his soul.
Oh my gosh, you're murdering me. All right, so we killed off pretty much the old. I don't think anybody else went after that. Ultra Magnus gets the leadership. Matrix of leadership. Unicron sees it because apparently he can see everything. They didn't tell us anything about Unicron. It was like, hey, here's a new really big toy, buy it, and he can see everything. And
this is what he does.
Yep, he's planets, and he's only allergic to the Matrix of leadership. That's it. I want to get into the animation of the rebirth of. Megatron goes on the Astro Train. Astro Train says, lighten my load here, please. They start kicking people off. Starscream, of course. Please take us through Starscream, because that is all.
Oh man! Before I got to set up Starscream, dog, let me talk about my man Soundwave. If you want a number two, a man of short words who got your back. When they was like, hey, they was like, Destructicons, we're gonna run. My man was like, Soundwave is superior, Destructicons inferior. That was his whole argument. Then they scrapped. My man, he picked up Megatron. They was gonna leave him. My man, he was like, oh, my most trusted ally. He didn't fall through at all. But anyway, back to my man Starscream, dog. Starscream, and this is another thing I learned as a lesson is in life, that if you're gonna take the spot, know what the hell you gonna do once you get it.
Right.
My man Starscream got the spot and had no plan.
He had nothing.
Nothing.
The only thing he had planned was a coronation ceremony.
And that was it.
It's like, all right, now what?
The fact that he had no plan past that proves that he shouldn't have had it.
Right.
But just one of another great, man, so many great lines in this movie. My man said, "Bow, Megatron, is that you?" No, he said, "Who dare discuss my coronation? Coronation, I call this was bad company."
Before we do that, I want to go back to where oh God, what did he say? How it pains me to do this. No, it was before that. What did he say before
I
he
still function?
Well, no, what did he say before?
Oh, hail the mighty Megatron!
Yeah,
and kicked him
in his ribs. He kicked him so hard, dog.
He put the steak on that junk
like when Megatron says, "I waited an eternity for this," hey, Starscream waited 2 eternities because that kick was so satisfying to him. Dog. He kicks him in the wrist.
No, you could tell he had to. He
had no remorse, dog. But he kicked him so hard. I like that part.
I still
function.
Wanna bet?
And they just threw him into the vacuum of space, like that.
Space. He knew
that animation
of
him throwing him out, and then his body just like because he was flying out of a speeding astro train, so he throws him, and his body just goes off the screen. It was like, that's the exact way he would have wanted to do it, and so. So he cast him out, and then Megatron meets Unicron, and in one of the most beautiful, it's a masterclass of animation.
Oh, so great, dog.
In the sense of once he gets reborn into Galvatron from Unicron's design, he takes him and pretty much breaks him down, and just the blueprint of the inside of Megatron and then how they smooth it over. It's like this came out in 86. So then when I saw things, for me, like when I see Transformers Rescue Squad or whatever, and I'm like, no, I'm never going to. Why would you? Anyway.
They did more with less.
Right. Yeah. Somebody drew that.
Straight up.
It was so beautifully done on like just these geometric figures and just like essentially what was lines and no color, just like the breaking down, and then again we got those grids to where it was like this just looks amazing. This is, like I said, a master class and just how to draw your stuff and make it look good. Yeah, absolutely. It's kicking a lot of things asses from today. Like that's why I'm like these guys could do this back then, like with I'm assuming was no computers or not that many, or they probably had one gigantic computer that it was like it's probably easier if we use our hand and draw. But it's like especially by today's standards, it was just amazing. And then comes back the coronation ceremony, which apparently was all. Like, where did you get a crown and a cape, all that from? They hadn't left Astro Train yet.
Why did he need the cape? Dog, I just think of David Ruffin and standing on the top during on the top looking down.
That's it. Like, that's all he wanted to do. Starscream was all about just bravado and just BS. Like, he had nothing, like, all right, now what we're going to do is go back and get... it was...
He didn't have no better plans. He wasn't like they zigged. I said we should have zagged. Right. He just wanted your spot. That was
the other thing is that I don't know anybody who wanted him on that spot, and so like how he got it or how whatever he was able to do to like diffuse the situation and have people play music for him as he. It's so ridiculous and over the top, and just one of those things you just got to chalk up, I guess. But
Oh man, and he got what
and
he
he
had
did.
coming, dog.
Yeah, so they wanted to introduce Galvatron, so he comes back with his sweeps and everybody else. So he had like an entire like new squad that he would like.
He did come back with new click better than his own.
Everybody was purple. Like he comes back with a brand new squad. Everybody's just kind of like, what's this? And he comes in, turns into and not a gun, but a cannon now. A laser cannon with a tripod, and doesn't just like blow Starscream away. He hits him and turns him into dust. Then like steps on the crown, like doesn't even like stomp on it, or like he just walks over it and like it's such a flex. Where else are we? Okay, so the after that battle, the Autobots have to run for it, pretty much. Wait, did they land? No, they hadn't left yet. Galvatron goes back and attacks them, looking for the Matrix of Leadership because he was instructed by Galvatron to take it. Oh, wait, that was another line that Orson Welles. I know Orson Welles was just reading these lines like, what? All right. But there was a part.
Like, what?
Right, exactly.
Clears, okay.
I'm getting old. Just skip this.
Dude, have you seen his Paul Masson commercial?
Dog.
Comedy
so
gold.
He could say anything.
I love Orson Welles. He was so above everybody, exactly. Like all the time.
It felt like he thought everybody was amateur hour. I would have loved to see who he liked. Because he came, well, I guess we'll be reading this thing about alien toys. Jeez. That's a thing.
That's a thing now. Check out his thing on Netflix called The Other Side of the Wind. He was doing a movie that was about it was like a movie with a movie within it. It was crazy, man. But yeah, he was ill.
He was probably racist too. Yeah.
He was.
He kind of had to be racist.
He probably was like,
yeah, like I wouldn't. Right.
He was probably eloquently racist.
Yeah.
Call you something like a moon cricket. You filthy moon crickets, get from my sight.
Covers his face with a handkerchief. It just smells like a moon cricket in here. Anyway. Wait, geez. Wait, does that guy sound like the Brain to you?
All of the low for those who don't know.
Right. But yeah, to get back to everything, there's a line where he, as Megatron, before he undergoes the change, he's like, yeah, you can go ahead and die, or I can remake you. But he's like, Megatron serves no one. He's like, your bargaining posture is rather dubious. Perhaps I was wrong about you. Fade into oblivion, and it just like goes like, dog. Orson Welles had to read. Say that one again because I love.
He was like, it's just funny because my dad, old man, right. was. Of course, he used that as an analogy for God. Something is always greater than you, boy. Remember that, and it really stuck. I was like, dog, if he's selling Megatron, God is real out here, dog.
I accept your terms.
Because he was, I accept. Because at first he was like, I'm gonna die. Fuck it, then die. Like, oh snap! Death hurts. Death hurts. Stop. Ow! I'll do it. Ow! Jesus Christ! Shit! Oh man!
Right? Man, they trying to play hardball with a deity.
And this is after a battle to the death with his arch enemy.
It was the other part. The Matrix of Leadership. No, it's like I was laughing so hard I forgot what I was going to say, but he's like, God, man. You exaggerate. But
Good job.
Yeah, so now we got so they go back, attack them. They shoot up Ultra Magnus. I'm really just remembering everything. And then so the Autobots split up and go two different ways or whatever. Somebody chases down one, somebody chases down the other because, Galvatron's got sweeps now. He has a gang within his gang called the Sweeps.
Of course.
And his huntsman. Yeah, it was the Tracker and the Huntsman. And his huntsman, the Sweeps. So he has a crew with a dude who has a crew within his larger crew of the Decepticons. All right. Yeah, they got a squad.
Niggas was like Wu-Tang.
Blah, 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 blah. Ultra Magnus gets shot up, and the Matrix of Leadership gets taken away. But they're on a junk planet where people can just, what do you call the things can just put him back together. They just rebuild him. Which in that case, where is Optimus? And can you guys do that for this? Maybe, just see what you can do. I guess some spark or something in there. Maybe. If not, it's no biggie.
Yeah, just
already
try something.
Accepted that. But if you can, that'd be awesome for us to have a really strong leader in this situation. Who was it? Cup Rodimus, and the Dinobots get shipped off to the I thought it was another junk
Dinobots.
planet, but it was actually the planet with the tribunal. That was really scary, dude.
That shit gave me nightmares forever.
It was first they meet a little guy. The Dinobots do anyway. Friend, find, look behind. It's really weird. It was really weird. It was just like a tiny robot who just kept.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
Little slingshot. He runs afoul of Grimlock for a second, and then they get cool. I guess Grimlock admired that the kid had balls.
Grimlock, dog.
That's all they were.
One of my earliest members of Grimlock, I just remember him whooping somebody's ass for trying to put him on a plane.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Dinobots don't fly. Come on!" He was like, "Get off me, bitch, man!"
Yeah, because it happened today. He was like, "Meet Grimlock, no runaway. Meet Grimlock, bash brains." He's like, "All right, I appreciate that, but
he was about that life.
It was about that life. All the Dinobots were thugs."
Yeah, they were straight up goons, dog.
Yeah, no, they was. This is a war. This is a war. I'm a Tyrannosaurus robot. What do you want me to do? I want to kill. Me bash brains. So, so they shoot up Galvatron and them shoot up Ultra Magnus, who is pretty much like a not good Rob Stark at this point. He really hasn't accepted the role of leadership. They just kind of, Prime gave it to him to hold on to for a minute, but he didn't really have any plans. So I guess again, we're talking about taking over leadership and not really knowing what to do with it. With Starscream, same thing happened on the good guy side, and
quiet as kept.
Isn't that crazy? Like, yeah, that's
niggas had no plan B. Prime didn't trade him. He was just like, "You're up next. Whenever the time comes, you're up next."
He's got a literal battlefield promotion, and he really got a battlefield promotion. Didn't even want it, and it showed. So, oh man, So they go to the tribunal, the nightmare fuel of the three changing faces. With the guilty or innocent. And it really didn't matter what you said. They were going to throw you into a pit of, man-sized robotic piranhas. And that was it. And so they do the same thing with Cup and Rodimus Prime, who, surprise, surprise, fight their way out of it because they're warriors. This Cup is a vet.
Dog, like they did the backstory on him, dog. When did he look new? That's what
I was just about to say. He had bags under his robot face, eyes, which was just crazy to me.
He probably was the dude running it before Optimus on the law.
He was Cup was old. So they beat them. Was it? I think it was Rodimus who the thing has super jagged teeth, and he punches it in the teeth and shatters it, and it falls. I'm like, dog, these niggas are gangsters, dog. Like,
I remember watching that shit with them. I remember my dad, low key, but he started one of the many times nigga would drop seeds in my mind that would make me fuck shit up for me. He was like, dog, all right, I get the machines. Who's making robot fish? For what purpose? And when he said that, that thought had never crossed my mind.
What was the purpose?
He was like, that was the point. He couldn't shut up. He had to speak up at that point. Robot T-Rex turns into a caveman. I can believe that shit. Robot fish? Nah, son. Nah, you ain't questioning none of this, boy. Like, Dad, this is the illest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm not questioning anything right now.
Robot fish. What would be the point? Yeah, he couldn't leave it alone.
He couldn't leave it alone. He just had to say something at that point. It's like, dog, I can see a planet that's a living planet. Okay, fine. But robot fish that eat other robots? For what purpose?
Why is the AI psychotic?
Yeah, that I was like,
That's amazing.
He was like, did you know somebody had to make him at some point? I'm like, dang, Dad, you making this too real for me right now, dog.
Somebody had to make him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go on finishing it up. Anyway, Galvatron gets a hold of the Matrix of Leadership, so they have to go after it. And of course, Galvatron decides that, hey, if this guy is allergic to this thing, the Matrix of Leadership,
hello.
I can use it to bend him to my will, because I'm still Megatron in here, and Megatron works for no one. He goes up. He's like, yeah, so this Matrix of Leadership thing, right? I got it now, baby. And, it doesn't work, of course.
Of course.
He does not have the touch. And so Rodimus and the gang catch up to him. They have a fight inside of Galvatron's leg, I'm assuming, because there are some people who are about to be digested by Galvatron, and apparently that takes 6 to 8 weeks to happen. There's a lot of red tape, and
because you got an updated CPU.
Yeah, lo and behold, we find a couple of the characters who were supposed to be killed early in the film, namely the human being Spike was supposed to
snap. I remember that. Now, damn, it's all coming back to me.
Yeah, he was hanging up in the thing, and he was like on the conveyor belt thing or whatever. It was like, oh, they didn't kill a flesh and blood human being. Sweet. So we find him. He reunites with his son, and there was so they do the fight. Rodimus gets his hands. Hot Rod gets his hand on the Matrix of Leadership, and he was Jon Snow, Azor Ahai the whole time. So he takes it. You got the touch. Stan lets it blare. He takes the Matrix. He opens it. A big light comes out, starts blowing everything to shit. And, well, that's pretty much it. And Galvatron flies off on like a, ketchup bottle and shakes his fist. Angrily shakes his fist at Rodimus Prime now, because the Matrix can make metal grow.
Yeah,
and that's sweet. I'll take it.
Can't knock that.
It's not robot fish.
Yeah. No means it's a robot fish.
It's not robot fish, so that's cool. They stand around and they pat themselves on the back and they say, "Hey, good job." And they end the film with a weird "Till all are one" chant, and I'm guessing that the goal is to eventually reunite with the Decepticons. It sounds like, but there is still a very bitter war
You let Optimus do it every night on the other side.
Exactly. Yeah, nigga, we'll be in the Matrix together. For right now, I don't like that nigga over there.
Yeah, I don't play that stuff. I'm like, nah. That's why I love Prime. That's why I like with the. I know we said we weren't going to talk about the Bane movies, but that stuff when he was going around the house, I'm like, dog, that's whack. Why Optimus would have knocked on the door. He'd have been like, ma'am, excuse me, you have something I need. I need the Matrix. Blah blah blah. Hey, Optimus is a stand-up guy. That's why, like, even though I thought he was lame, I had to respect him.
Yeah, because because he also had that side where he'd be like, "Hey, listen, you got a thing in there that I need," and I think that all what's this thing? All sentient life has a right to happiness, or that's like his quote, something to that effect, or the right to freedom, or something like that. I don't even feel like I'm sitting right here, and
It's he's the man. It's like that's back when they made good guys like him and Cap, and I'm like, oh, I can't stand them because I like the bad guys because they got better bases and better outfits and stuff. But dang, this is some stand-up guys.
Freedom
man.
is a right of all sentient beings. That's what he said. But
that's like a Jesus quote.
Absolutely.
All sentient.
He's not just talking. He's like plants and monkeys and robot fish should all be able to just be free. Dog.
Everything. Be free. That's
So
they don't make stuff like that.
Again, this film is 33 years old now.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I remember like a couple of years ago, it was like the 30th anniversary. And then even time has flashed from that point. And just kind of riff a little bit about how, it's its effect on you and kind of your outlook on media and life.
Oh, it's the bar is high and it's funny because it reminded me of Kafka, because I remember I always Megatron.
Shout out to Kafka.
And like how would they shout out to my man Kafka. So I'd be doing stuff, I'm like, well, I'll get this, and he'd always be like, Maps, nah. But just nah. You sure just trust me, dog. It's not worth it, man. And it's like so much of the stuff, like it's just, I don't know, just the plot and everything from that whole movie. It just had everything. You felt like shit was on the line.
It did have some weight. Yeah.
It had weight to it. It wasn't like, oh, here's the little fluff piece. It was like, no, it's going down. Things is happening. Things have changed. People have lost. And I'm like, man, this set the bar so high for me at such a young age.
Yeah.
And it's like, you look at that stuff now. That's back when they used to do the animation was hand drawn. Like I was looking at this Akira, one of the test drawings they did for the animation, just to see and just how fluid that. And it was just him driving down the street for like a couple frames. Mm-hmm. But just how fluid that crap was.
And people taking pride.
It's literally bringing art to life. It is literally bringing art to life. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy. And like just looking at that, and I messed myself up before I went to see the first remake. I watched that right before it. And I'm thinking just afterwards, I was like, dang, I shot myself in the foot there, didn't I?
You brushed your teeth and drank orange juice on that.
Yeah, I definitely did. But it's just even with like how just our whole generation, man. I could literally go out somewhere, and if people hear me, I guarantee you, if I say, what's your stand? What is your fault? Nigga, Teen Titans Go. The episode with Night Begins to Shine.
Oh, yeah.
Nigga, me and my kids are watching that. I am crying laughing. Cyborg, no, call me Cyborgamus Prime. And I'm like, dog, this is just bananas, And of course, you show it to your kids now, and they're like, nigga, this is nothing. They'd rather see CGI. And I'm like, do you understand how great this junk is? Like you would say, just even the blueprint. This junk is crazy. Or even when they had one of the scenes when the ship went past in space. And it was like, dog, it's like you were saying, they may have known they were trying to sell us toys and stuff. And a lot of the stuff with our generation cartoons, like I went back and watched Silverhawks, man. And I realized how much of that was just basically selling toys. Obviously selling toys.
Right. Which, again, for me, I didn't mind that so much because I wanted toys and I wanted there to be like some kind of. I like that they gave you some kind of a rubric as to how far you can make playing with your toys work, because I enjoyed watching those episodes. So it was like, it was pretty much like watching someone play with the toys on the commercial.
Yeah.
So I didn't hate that at all.
And it gave you something to play. It gave you ideas. It wasn't like, here's a dope toy, do something. No, this nigga has a backstory. Check this out.
Right, the little comics that used to come with that stuff.
So ill.
Yeah. Real quick before we go, just Stan Bush. I feel like he should have got like a producer credit.
He should get something.
Because there's no way that movie would be the same without him. Just that it, and again, like everything about this movie just leans into whatever the cheese of it would be. It's still like, oh yeah, no, it's plenty of that here, but check it out. That's what makes this really amazing. And Stan Bush the touch and Stan Bush dare. Like I once somebody was having a really rough time, and I just quoted lyrics from Dare, and it was like, dog, for real, that's some good advice, dog. And I'm like, I was like, full disclosure, I am just quoting Stan Bush from Dare. Here, listen to this. Hopefully, it picks you up. And but it did, because it's an amazing song.
I wonder, did the song come first, or did he write it after watching the movie, or they just described something and he made it? It needs to be a documentary about this.
Yeah, so we should look into that. But yeah, just like even the old cheesy, like the video where it's just him in that same space where Unicron was singing "You've Got the Touch." It's like, and Stan Bush looked exactly as you would expect him to back then. Like whatever you have in your mind about the way Stan Bush looks, look up the touch, and you'll be like that. Yeah, like that. Exactly like that.
He looks like when he was there. Like, my man, Doctor Strange. You look like a Thanos. You look like a Stan Bush.
Yeah. But yeah. I don't have much else on it, except for the fact that, I was really, this is like one of those, this among other things is just one of the things that I just tied to the memory of Aaron, and just, hanging out with him, but also to take that later on, like from what I remember as a child, just like you remember as a child watching with your pops talking about robot fish, I also take that other memory, like my second or third or fourth watch through as an adult with you guys in the dorm, and that's just as important, to where it was like first noticing, like I remember like noticing the swears as we sat on Branson's couch. That was also the couch that he dislocated his knee stealing from the basement makers.
Yo got goods, nigga.
Yo got goods. I was like,
that's a podcast in itself. I remember he was like, dog, Miles. I'm like, what? Greedy niggas get caught. It was like a crime heist movie. He the one who didn't want to be there. Fuck it, I'll watch the door, but just get what you need. Greedy people get caught, man. We get one more sofa. You don't need one more sofa.
Yo, I loved that, because that was when I first met y'all.
Yeah.
Because I was working night reset, and I had to call 911 to come pick him up. And he's in the elevator, and he says, "What? Do they know I'm black? Jesus, what took so long?" I was like, "Damn." We was in the elevator, dog. We just had the elevator stop. So like, I'm not even gonna move him, dog.
Because they was mad, because we was all messed up, and they was mad. I had to be like the voice of reason, and I was like, 'cause that's when Kafka was freaking out, and I'm like, listen, we already lost the man. We can't undo what the fuck is done with him. Take that sofa upstairs. Don't make his loss be in vain.
Take the sofa.
I'm like, don't let his loss be in vain. He can't move. He's right here. Let's just worry about this. And like, it's heartless. Give him something to sit on when he get back, okay? So.
Right.
He was like, if I gotta move my leg because we took the beach, take the beach, dog. Don't be like, what happened? You lost a leg. I'll take the beach, dog.
Take the beach. No, yeah. That's how I met y'all. I was like, I forgot all about that. But yeah, I was sitting on that couch watching Transformers with y'all when I noticed that they were saying shit, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, what? And it was like, the one show stand, one show. no one would follow an uncharismatic bore like Soundwave. Nobody calls Soundwave uncharismatic. Fam. That was his man's. Rumble wasn't having that. Or Ravage.
Oh, he wasn't having that. Dog, good time. That's what you peeped me to the lyrics from The Touch. And even now and then, I still bust out laughing thinking about that. When that nigga sound like he was describing the Messiah.
You got the touch.
When all hell's breaking loose, you'll be riding the
You
eye
know
of the
how ill
storm.
that is. You got the heart. You got the touch. You got the power. Every time I see that gif of God, what is it? Draymond Green talking to Kevin Durant, where he's like, I imagine him saying, "You got the touch. You got the power. When all hell's breaking loose, you be right now in the storm. You got the heart. You got the motion."
Oh, that would gas me up so much.
That's what I would say. Like, so I hate to end it, but I gotta get up super early in the morning and wake up Jesus. So
the ass cracker.
Be very tight. The small of Dawn's back.
It's when I gotta wake up. The trap right below the trap
stamp of the Dawn's back. Jeez.
Oh, good time.
Thank you for doing this show with me, bro.
Man, I'm honored to be here. Thank you, man.
Until then, folks, love, trust, and belief. I'll see you later. Peace.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and comment. This has been a Hyphen Podcast Network production.
They're the bestest. I'm getting paid at exposure.